Hey y'all. So I have been gone off the face of the earth again for some time. Sorry. I work full time and then I chicken out and then I don't have any ideas. And to be honest, I don't necessarily love posting beauty content all the time. So I don't think that will be like the main thing on my channel. I have a lot of fun talking about pop culture, and lately, uh, I've been on a book kick. Not so much books because I have a really hard time reading things and picturing things in my mind at the same time. I am an audiobook girly. I enjoy listening to audiobooks and vividly hallucinating that way. So, I have been down the rabbit hole with a bunch of audiobooks. I just finished listening to one today that I feel like we need to talk about. I feel like I need to retell what I just listened to today. But I think I need to do that in my normal setup because I am inside my car right now. It is freaking 100 degrees today. It's September 30th. Why is it this hot? Like, can we talk? Like, who do I have to talk to? Like, I just need to talk to this person and fix this weather because it is pumpkin spice season. My hair is pumpkin spice. We're ready. We're ready for the vibes, but it's too freaking hot out. And I'm wearing a cat shirt because I can't wear my cute sweaters yet, and I'm mad about it. Okay. Tangent done. I am gonna go set up inside. Well, first I gotta actually feed my cats. I gotta feed my cats. I gotta potentially feed myself. I gotta call my mom, or else if I don't call my mom when I get home from work every day, she freaks out and then she yells at me and she says this phrase, "Se te olvida que tienes madre," which she says you forget that you have a mother. So I don't want to forget about her. So I will be back and we will check in and I will tell you all about the book I just listened to today. All right. This isn't quite my background. We're a little bit over to the side next to the shoe rack. But I figured I was going to talk a little more informally. So, welcome to my futon. And you'll see my cat. Her government name is Roxy, but nobody calls her that. We just call her Mike. That's just how it is. Hi, Mike. Mama girl. That is my dinner. So, hold on to your butts. We got. What do I got? What do we have? Hold on. Hold on. Let's go chill in. Okay. We have a cat. We got a reheated Big Mac. we have we have some Coke Zero caffeine free edition because your girl's been going through some weird health stuff. And we're still trying to figure out what's going on with me until we do. Caffeine has just kind of been ruled out. Long story short, in the last couple of months, I have fainted for no particular reason. So they're still trying to determine the cause, checking my heart, yada yada. So far, my heart's been looking fine. But like I've mentioned before, I am on the spectrum. So it could potentially be that I have a condition called POTS, which is popular, well, which is common in a lot of females on the spectrum that are between 20 and 50. I'm right there. I'm 30. So it could be something like that where I'm just somebody that faints from time to time. But we're not here to talk about my mystery health. We're here to talk about this book that I listened to today while I was working hard at work. You know, doing the things, crunching the numbers, updating the spreadsheets, you know, that sort of fun stuff. So, a book I listened to today. I hope the sound of my Coke fizzing isn't too distracting, but you know what? It is what it is. Hold on. Oh, crap. Have I ever shared that as somebody on the spectrum, I'm horrifically uncoordinated and I can't do anything without spilling things all over myself? So this right here, so if I don't spill it. Okay. So the book I listened to today was called so it is the first of like 20 books. I don't know if I'm gonna read all 20 because that sounds like a big undertaking. But anyway, the book is called Ice Planet Barbarians by this author named Ruby Dixon. Um, and again, there's like 21 of them. They are a science fiction romance series, and it kind of blew my mind. Now, keep in mind, the books I tend to listen to, your girl likes like darker romances. Um, Not a darker romance, but my favorite series this year has been A Court of Thorns and Roses. I have listened to that series of books 3 times in the last calendar year. So since January, I've listened to it 3 times. Loved it each time. But Resand, High Lord of the Night Court, kind of opened this can of worms for me where the male love interests that I love in these books have been getting darker and darker. My favorite being Leon the Demon Mon. Leon the Demon from this book called Her Soul to Take. He's literally a demon and he wants the girl's soul. So you know, your girl has a darker taste. Um, morally black. Morally black is my favorite. I love it when the guy is a simp for his girl, but absolutely hates everybody else and commits violent atrocities to the world, and worships his girl. So those are the kinds of books that I like. Um, they have to be humanoid, for the most part. Demon has to look like a person. I haven't delved into the monster world yet. So this was kind of a departure for me. So Ice Planet Barbarians is about a girl named Georgie, and she's 22. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. Young, cute, fit, healthy, and she doesn't really. Her personality isn't really that like fleshed out. But you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. Doesn't matter. So it's a girl named Georgie. She wakes up one night and her ass. Sorry, I'm gonna swear because this is my channel. I can do what I want. Her her ass gets in the middle of the night. Her ass gets kidnapped by these aliens, and they're described as being red, but the way that they're described, it sounds like the gray aliens. Um, so she's abducted by aliens. She wakes up and she's in a ship or a spaceship, and she's in a cell with like 5 other girls, and the girls are like, "Hey, don't be fighting, just chill. We're all here. We're all 22, and we're all from like random places." I think this girl said she's from Florida. Yes, Georgie is from Florida because the story is narrated with her having kind of a Britney Spearsy type Southern accent. So she's from Florida, and she's stuck on this spaceship, and she's a feisty girl. So she's like, "Hey, we gotta fight. We gotta figure out how we're gonna get out of here. We gotta fight and kill these aliens." And the girls are like, "What? What do you mean, bozo? Like, who's gonna drive the spaceship, you idiot?" But then she's like, "I don't care. I don't care. We're gonna fight. We're gonna fight." So in this, we're gonna fight. Unfortunately, some other girl got abducted named Dominique, who also was a fighter, and she was screaming. We scroam, everybody scroam, and something horrific happens to Dominique, and Georgie and the other girls witness it, and they're like, "Oh shoot, like it's real." Um, I shouldn't be making light of it. The poor girl gets essayed by these aliens, and they all witness it, and they pretty much are like, "And this better keep you quiet." And so now all of them are like, "Oh, hell no! Like we could get assaulted by these alien things that we don't know where they're taking us. They come to find out that they are just the backup plan because there's these like 6 other girls in these pods that are like comatose that they've abducted first. Who knows where they're going? Ain't nobody know where they're going. But the point is, Georgie's like, hey, we gotta find a way to get out. We do. And she gets all the girls and like, rah, 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 like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm with you, Georgie. And it comes a scene where she is like, okay, here's the plan. We've been in this jail cell and we've all been dookie in this bucket. I'm gonna throw this dookie bucket onto one of these aliens, and in the diversion, we're gonna get ourselves out. And they haven't figured it out from there, but they're like, I bet, like this, yes, we're down. So tell me why, when Georgie starts executing her plan and she gets the bucket of dookie and she flings it on the alien, ain't nobody coming and fighting. They're just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, we're not part of that. And then she ends up with doo-doo on herself because then she's not that strong. And so the waste bucket like flings on both of them. So great. Now she's covered in poop. Like, what the heck? Like, that's so messed up. Anyway, so that fight goes kaput. And then there's alarms going off, going, brr, 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 brr. This is in my mind. This is part of my vivid hallucination. But they say there's like Mayday, Mayday. Some alarms are going off. Brr, brr. Lights are flashing red. Brr, brr. And then they're like, oh, snap. We're about to crash. And then that shit cuts to black. Flash. It cuts to black. End scene. Take a sip of my Coke. All right. So end the scene. We wake up. Well, Georgie wakes up and she's like, ah, my arm hurts. My leg hurts. My rib hurts. What's going on? Turns out the spaceship crashed. They don't know where they are. 2 of these girls died, unfortunately. R.I.P. to these girls. And Georgie's like, what happened? And then they're like, oh, we crashed. And then they're just kind of talking and stuff. And then they were like, well, we're free. We don't know where the aliens went. They kind of ditched us, and now we're stranded here on this planet. It's really cold. It's ice planet Barbarians. So forgive me. It's frigid temperatures. It's cold out. And so they're like, all right, we don't know where we are. Hey, Georgie, you look the less messed up out of all of us. Get your ass out there and figure out where we are. And Georgie's like, what do you mean? My wrist is clearly like broken, and I am also injured. My ribs are bruised at least. And they're like, nah, you seem the smartest. You were willing to throw doo-doo on that alien. You're covered in doo-doo yourself. Just go and figure out where we are. See if you can find us some shelter. Be a scout. And so that's what Georgie does. So Georgie takes one for the team, and she goes out there. And so then as she's out there, she's like, whoa, this planet's really scary. There's a lot of stuff and things I didn't know. And then she steps in a freaking trap. Like, you know, one of those traps where you're like, doot, 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 and you're walking, and then your foot gets caught, and then you go, ah! And then you're hanging there, and you're all limp like this. That happens to her. That happens to her. Sorry. Sometimes I can't do words. But y'all got the idea. So that happens to her. And so now she's up there. And she's dangling. And she's like, what the hell? Like, what? And then up comes this giant dude. He's 7 feet tall. He's blue. He's blue, okay? He's the Avatar. He's not the Avatar, but because he's supposed to be like massive and really ripped. He's got horns, big old horns, big ass horns. and then um he's got ridges all over the place. We might get to the ridges part. Caveat before I go any further. Before I go any further, caveat. I listened to some smutty books, okay? So we're gonna go there. We're gonna talk about it, okay? If you're here for the ride, you're here. Thank you. Um, so anyway, she's like, ooh, he freaks me out, but like, he's kind of hot. He's an alien, but like, you know. Anyway, so she's dangling, and then she passes out. And now we switch. It does switch POVs. So then that was her POV, and then from his, he's like, "Oh my god, I feel it in my quee." Which you don't find out what a quee is until the end. So I'm gonna tell you what a quee is when I found out what a quee is. So he's like, "My quee, it's resonating," which they equate it to make it sound like a cat purring or some sort of vibration. And so he's like, "My quee, it's resonating with her. This girl, this thing, this hairless thing is my mate." And so he cuts her off from, where she's hanging. Help me. Cuts her off. Oh. Cuts her off from wherever he was hanging her. And he drags her to a cave. And what's this pervert start doing? Tell me in a smutty book what this pervert starts doing. So he is so enchanted with his mate that he undresses her. Yeah. He undresses her. And he checks her out. And he's like, hey. Likes what he sees, apparently. And then poor Georgie wakes up, and this alien is can I even say this on YouTube? You know what? Screw it. I'm not here to make money. I'm just here to be stupid and be stupid and laugh. So she wakes up, and this big ghoulish alien, this massive dude, is in between her legs. And instead of her freaking out, she leans into this, and she's all about it enthusiastically, because apparently his tongue is like ruffles. It's got ridges. So anyway, she is thoroughly entertained. And then when it's over, she's like, whoa, and then she freaks out. And he speaks his alien language, she speaks English, so a lot of the book is them just not really understanding each other in any other way but physically. And so she's into what he's been providing. And then this whole time they're getting to know each other. They're getting very acquainted with each other. At one point in the book, I'm like, did she forget that she was supposed to be scouting and like trying to help her girlfriends out that were stranded somewhere up in the mountain? And so but then there's a part in the book where she's like, hey, take me up the mountain. And he's like, nah. And then she's like, take me up the mountain. There's things. So then he's like, okay, fine. I'll take you up the mountain. And then he is like, then a blizzard happens, and then he drags her into a cave. And yes, Bruce. Sorry if you hear my cat crying. That's Bruce. He likes attention. But Roosterfur, which baby, what are you crying about? Okay, I think he's done crying. Okay, so then drags her into this cave, and she was thoroughly impressed with what he could do with his Ruffles tongue, that she was ready to take things to the next level. And so we find out that his junk is pronged. Bruce, are you crying about this too? So we find out. Okay, Mike. So we find out that his junk is like. So he's got his junk, but it's kind of shaped like a toy, in the sense that there's another like piece to it, kind of like this, you know? Yeah. You imagine what sort of devious things can happen with something like this. So, of course, she thoroughly enjoys once she gets well acquainted with him in that way. And all this whole time, I'm like, she's not concerned because they're two different species, so she doesn't think that she can get pregnant. So they're just whoopity woo woo woo, having a grand old time. So they have a grand old time. Um, I don't even know how I was listening to this at work, to be honest. But anyway, they're having a grand old time, and then um, finally, she's like, okay, no, for real, you need to take me up the mountain. There's people that need to be there, and he still doesn't understand what she's saying. So then he's like, oh, I need to take you to this other cave to talk to the spirit guide, and he takes her to this other cave. Come to find out, it's a spaceship that has like an AI in there, and the AI is programmed in like a 20 or something languages, human and alien. And Georgie gets through this fancy schmancy rocket. She gets LASIK, and the LASIK puts his language into her brain. So then now she can talk to him. And so this is where she finds out that he thinks that she's his mate and all of this wah wah. And then she's like, okay, no, for real, we gotta go and like find my friends. Wait, hold on, I'm lying. They found the friends first. They found the friends first. Sorry, guys. She convinced it. Okay, sorry, this is unhinged because it's been a long day. But anyway, she convinces him through the favors to go back up the mountain. And so they do just that. They go back up the mountain, and he meets the girls, and he's like, this is a business opportunity for me because this entire time in our village of aliens, there's 4 female aliens to like 20 dudes, and they are a species that mates for life. So all of the 4 are spoken for. Barostifer. All of the 4 are spoken for. And these other 16 chumps are desperate for a woman. Desperate. Absolutely feral. They need a woman. And so this is why we find out that our alien guy, his name is Vectal. So Vectal is so crazy about his mate. And it's also because they've been desperate. They've, you know. So anyway, Vectal sees all these girls, and he's like, oh my god, my village is set. There's all these girls in here. And then the girls are making fun of Georgie, and they're like, you bitch, like you left us and you've just been getting some this whole time from this big alien Hulk Viking dude. You ditched us. What the heck? And then, they get over it. It's fine. But they're all like coughing and being weak and stuff. And it turns out like Vectal is like, hey, you guys have the sickness of being on this planet. And if you don't have a Quee a Quee, you're gonna die. And they're like, a Quee? What the heck? And then he's like, you need the Quee. The Quee is in me, the Quee is in you. You need the Quee. So they're like, okay. Okay, so now they're doing this through like signs. There's one of these girls that was stuck on the ship, had an earpiece that translated language, so he was able to semi talk to her. And she was able to translate what he was saying in his language. But anyway, beside the point. Now, cut back to they make it to this other cave where where Georgie got LASIK, and Vectal and her are finally able to like communicate. And she's like, "The heck you mean, a mate? Like, I really am into you." First of all, they fall in love real fast. Um, she's like, "I'm really into you. I want to stay, but I also want to know if there's a possibility of me going back home to Earth." And he's like, "The hell you mean you want to go back to Earth? You belong to me." And then she's like, "I know that, but like these girls, I need to make sure that these girls are fine." And, and so, um, and then she's like, has a moment where she's like, "You didn't even give me a chance to decide if I wanted to be your mate. You just said, like, you're mine." And he's like, "I don't decide. The Quee decides." And she's like, "Who the hell is the Quee?" And he goes, "The Quee. The Quee isn't me. The Quee isn't you." Well, the Quee will be in you soon because I don't want you to die because I love you so fiercely that I need you to get in on this, Quee. And she's like, "I need to think about that." And so he was like, "You know what? It's time to meet the family." So he takes her to the village and she meets all of the aliens. And um, they say, "Hey," because he thought that if he was going to take her to the healer and that she was going to feel better. And then the healer is like, "I can't help her if she doesn't have a Quee. Ain't no Quee. The Quee within me can't help the Quee within you if you don't have a Quee." And she's like, "What is the Quee?" And then they're like, you need the Quee. You just need it. You need it if you're gonna survive. The Quee is the only way you're gonna survive out here. You know, can't do it without a Quee." And so at this point, me as a listener, I was like, can somebody just say what the Quee is? Like just tell me what it is. Why are we being so weird? Like, why can't we just say it? My cats are getting there. It's 6:30 p.m. They're getting their dinner. Um, so then, and I got distracted by the kibble. Where are we at? So, can't heal her without the Quee. Can't do nothing without the Quee. You can't buy anything without the Quee. You can't fart without the Quee. You can't breathe without the Quee. Point is, everybody's saying, "Bitch, you need the Quee." And so then she's like, "Well, I love Vectal, with an L, Vectal. So, fine, give me this Quee." And meanwhile, all of her friends, like, these bitches are dying because they can't survive in this atmosphere without the freaking Quee, whatever it is. And then, so then she's like, "Okay, I accept." And, oh, sorry, unhinged. So they're also trying to find a way back, but then they realize that the only way back is going to be through the scary aliens that kidnapped and assaulted them in the beginning of the book. And then they find out they all have tracking devices inside of them from these stupid ugly aliens in the beginning, so they have to carve the tracking devices out of themselves. So that happens. um Sorry, I'm too enraptured by the Quee. The Quee within me is the Quee within you. Okay, so we get the Quee. Well, she says, "Okay, fine. Let's have. I accept. I will take the Quee." And all the other girls, because now they're coughing, they're getting some sort of pneumonia disease because they can't survive in the atmosphere without the Quee. They're like, "All right, bitch, if you get the Quee, we'll get the Quee." And she's like, "Okay, bet." And then, kind of around the same time they're having this conversation, he's talking about, "You're my mate and we're going to have a kid." And she's like, "What the heck is a kid?" And he goes, like, and she's like, "Does that mean like a child?" And he's like, "Hell yeah. You're going to have my children. That's what a mate is. We've mated. You're going to have a baby." And she's like, "What?" Because, you know, this whole time they've just been having a great old time because she thought that she couldn't get pregnant because they are in an interspecies relationship. And he's like, no, no, no. The queen, the queen that's in here, the queen picked you because you could make babies with me. And I worked real hard and there's a baby in you. And she's like, oh my God, there's a baby in me. And she's not even mad about it. Like, that upset me because I was upset for her. And I was like, Georgie, you are 22. You thought this freakazoid alien was hot, so you just busted open for him, and now you're expecting his baby. Like, you don't even know this thing. I can't even say this man because he's not a man. Well, I mean, he's male, but like, he's not a man. He's a thing. He's a they. Well, he's not human. Not a they because, you know, non-binary folk. Apologies, but he's not human. You don't even know them. But whatever. She even says, I'm not mad about it in the book. So I guess because the author wrote that she's not mad about it, we can't be mad about the fact that he took advantage of the language barrier and impregnated this girl. And hi, Bruce. He impregnated this girl and nobody like educated her. Like, oh, that upset me. A Brewster for baby. No, baby boy, bájate. No, BB. Sorry, that's my black cat trying to come in. Come here, BB. This is Bruce. He's the one that's been crying this whole time. But, so, back to Ice Planet Barbarians. So then, she's pregnant. So now she's really, hi Bruce. So now she's really in this. And Bruce is now really in this because we're talking about Ice Planet Barbarians and that's what he's all about, you know? So, okay. So, they're all rescued. The guys, I'm skipping some plot points because does it really matter? Well, okay, kind of. So, Vectal takes all of his homeboys from his tribe and they go back to where the girls were stranded. He saves all of them. Including saving the pod girls. And now these dudes are all saying their quees. Well, their quees are all going crazy because they are obsessed with these hoes. And they want them all. They say these girls are our mates. And the girls decide, you know what? I'm okay being a mate to these 7-foot tall Hulk freakazoids versus finding a way back home. I'm fine with that. Because you know why? Because they're 22 and they are young and dumb. Okay? That's what I'm blaming it on. So we get to the queen. So we're at the moment. We're at the big climax of the book. So they find a big old monster. And they're like, this is where we get the Kui from. The Kui is something we implant. So we find out that the Kui is something that they implant in everybody from when they're 4 days old. Which means it's a freaking parasite, y'all. The Kui within me and the Kui within you is a parasite. It's a parasite. When I tell you I got the chills, it gets worse. So they get this giant beast, and Vectal slays the beast, and it's a worm. It's a worm. And so then he goes, hey boo, I'm gonna need to stab you in the neck and shove this worm in you so that you'll be all queued up. And she lets him do it. Ah! Oh! Oh! It was so gross. Anyway, the worm goes in her neck, and they're all queued up. And that's how it ends. They're all queued up, and Georgie has her happily ever after with Vectel, the man that she barely met. So that's it. I was so flabbergasted at this story that I have officially checked out book 2 on my Libby account. But yeah, that was Ice Planet Barbarians as told by me. I'm not the best summarizer, but I'm an entertaining one. So if you had fun and you want to hear me do more of these, or you want to see more of these, if you have any book recommendations for me, keep in mind, I like them spicy, I like them dark, I like them morally black, and I like romance fantasy. If you or fantasy romance, I have dabbled in reverse harem, not my fave, but I will pretty much give a lot of things a chance. I will also give monster romance a chance if the monster in question, as an Ice Planet Barbarians, is humanoid. Stop it, Bruce. You agree. As long as they're humanoid, we're good. Okay? Alright. Thank y'all for watching. Like and subscribe if you want more of this. Because I had a blast filming this. So there might be more. Deuces.